So have you tried any different backgrounds on the?
No, it's hello, ladies. This is Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley. You might remember me from such movies as 1941. That's about the only thing as I'm doing my Squiggy haircut. This is the Power Cosmic at-home edition, kids. You could play it at home with your family. It's like the Beat the Clock Family Home Edition. And joining me, as always, bored out of his mind, Jerry Ordway. We could all see him resting his hand there going, yeah, I got nothing else going on.
I didn't shave this week. That was the only excitement for me. Is I just said, I'm done. I'm not going to do it.
Well,
I'll probably get tired of it and I'll shave. But
I've been shaving my legs religiously. We're all good.
Well, it's short season, so
It is. It got warmer out. It hailed, it snowed, and then it got 70 degrees. So welcome to Connecticut. So we're still here, day 60 something of the never-ending isolation. What do they call this stuff? What is quarantine?
Social distancing.
Social distancing. So we're doing that. I've been doing it all my life. Just ask people who hate me. They'll tell me they don't want to be in the same room with me. But tonight we're talking about Comic Cons because I haven't been to one in, I don't think I went to one since February. So I'm getting withdrawal symptoms. By now,
you did February?
I went to
that one in New Jersey, yeah.
No, did I go to one in New Jersey? No, I went to the one up in Plainfield.
Oh, I thought you went to. Did they not do the New Jersey one this year? And
no,
there was
East Coast
February.
Comic Con got canceled. The other one that just got canceled too, Garden State.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember. I used to go to.
I know there was like some cons. Right, the Chicago one, the
C2E2, yeah, that was just
happened.
Yeah, that happened
right before all hell broke loose. So that was really kind of like the last big show. Yeah, so far.
The last roundup. Yeah, but I don't know. And I've been cleaning my comic books and organize them, so I find a lot of stuff I got at conventions. But that's the subject tonight. We're going to talk about this. What was the very first convention you went to as a fan? And then we'll see which one you went as a pro. So do you remember going to one?
I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So there was a show in Chicago that I remember going to. It's the one that became the big Chicago Con that Wizard bought out in the late 90s.
Down by the airport?
Yeah, it used to be downtown.
Yeah.
It was at the Pick Congress Hotel in downtown Chicago. And I went there for, I guess it's maybe 77, 78, 79. And then 1980, they had the talent search, DC talent search. And Joe Orlando was there.
I was going to say, who was there, like, guest-wise? Did they have any actors, celebrities, or that wasn't a thing then?
No, you know what they had? The year, I think it was 1980, the two guests, which was kind of funny because one of them I wound up working with, but the two guests of honor, one was Boris Vallejo, who was a fantasy guy. The other one was Roy Thomas. Roy was a special guest in like 1980 at the Chicago Con, and that was I don't remember.
Marvel then?
No, you know what the deal was? He had just apparently it would have been summer of 1980. He had just had some kind of negotiations, and that was why he was there. I think because DC was announcing that he was going to be working at DC. So longtime Marvel guy, but he had problems with, at the time, Jim Shooter. Yeah. Shooter kind of wanted to do away with the writer-editor thing. So, and that was written into Marv's contract. Marv had come over, Len Wein had come over to DC by that point. Doug Mensch, I think, maybe those guys were all either Doug and maybe Roy and Jerry Conway. Conway might have been there by then. So
yeah,
it was
he
just
was already doing Firestorm for DC.
It was an exodus of talent from Marvel. So, but anyway, so I go to the show, and I had tried to get into comics in '77, but I made a trip to New York, and I got turned down because it was right before, I think it was 77 or 78, whatever the DC implosion was. It was the week before the DC implosion.
Yeah.
So we came back from that show and went to the Chicago Comic Con, like July 4th weekend was when it was always.
Now, how big a show was this? Was it like 10,000, 500 people?
I don't know how many people. It was a big ballroom, but it wasn't, like monstrous. And this, it was still crowded.
Like a hotel ballroom, though.
Yeah, and the hotel had like the Pick Congress had these little glass cubicles. They were little office rooms, and they put like 2 artists in each one, and they had like a south-facing window, like a wall of glass, so the sun would come in and bake the room. It
Oh,
was so
gee.
hot. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like if you imagine any building that has a facing on the sunny side,
Mm.
you know, like afternoon,
Hmm.
it was those rooms were like
There's
up,
a there's a show in Long Island at the it used to be at the Aviation Museum or something like that,
right.
and it's an air museum, so they have that whole nice front opening there with glass, and they have like
Yeah,
airplanes hanging from the thing. But the problem is the south facing sun, it comes straight in there. And when they
yeah,
have the show, I remember Billy Tucci and all the celebrities, it's like a magnifying glass.
yeah,
And the
it's bad.
sun comes through and it superheats if you're there. And there's like the lady from Star Trek Next Generation who played Troy, Marina Sirtis. She was like melting, like her makeup because she was sweating so much. And then Billy Tucci was like, "My God, it's so hot in here! Jesus, open the window!" So like the late great Jerry Stiller, if he was an artist from Long Island. But anyway, I digress. So it
To
was
add,
hot over there. So
but
yeah.
to add to this is so that the year that 1980 when they had the talent thing,
Mm.
they also had a Doctor Who costume contest,
Jesus God.
and there was this long hallway that led to this room that Joe Orlando was in. Well, we were all standing. There had to be 30, 40 people trying to get their portfolios looked at.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there were probably like 30 guys in heavy scarves and hats. It was the 1970s
Tom
Doctor Who,
Baker. Yeah, yeah,
black
yeah.
hole, you know. So that room smelled like really bad. It was so stinky, sweaty. It
Mm.
was not only 100 degrees or whatever.
Yeah, add
And
the wool coats
that
to it. Yeah.
so, but anyways, at the end of the day, I was there all day, moving up, moving up, and then, you know,
Was
Joe
it a
Orlando.
1-day show or a 3-day show or?
No, it was a Saturday, Sunday. It was a Friday,
Okay.
Saturday. It might have been a Saturday and Sunday show at the time. It may not have been a Friday. They might have added that, but
Okay.
um,
So you're
it was
finally
just,
there. You waited all day, and what happened?
so I wait all day, and I had coloring book samples because Joe Orlando. I didn't have any comic samples except for these things I did for a DC superheroes coloring book. But I thought since they were DC characters, it would show I could draw them, right? So it was stuff that Joe was so punchy and tired from a whole day of looking at portfolios. He kept looking at my stuff and he couldn't figure it out because one of them was a big piece of drawing a Wonder Woman, and her stars weren't on her pants. They were like they were hidden in the picture. So the kid, you know, the coloring activity book was supposed to find Wonder Woman's stars.
Yeah.
And he's looking at it and he's not getting it. He's going, "Where's your stars? I don't understand." And he really like, he seemed like somebody who was sleepwalking. He was so tired.
Anesthetized, about to get his liver taken
He was
out.
there. I mean, he really literally was there all day, and
Yeah.
he must have looked
Punch
at it.
drunk. Yeah.
So I thought it's all going down in flames. And then Paul Levitz came by and he goes,
Mm.
"Joe, you've been doing this all day. We got to go to dinner." And he looks down at my samples and he goes, "Oh, Jerry Ordway, we've been trying to get in touch with you." And I was like totally blown away because
Why? How does he know that? You've been sending samples in?
Joe Orlando and Paul Levitz were in the special projects, which was licensing. So
Oh,
they
I see.
saw my pencils and my inks for the DC coloring book before, but I was working at an art studio, so I wasn't like an individual. It was sent from Advertising Art Studio.
Gotcha.
You know,
Gotcha.
my name might have been on the drawing in the corner or something, so they had no contact.
Gotcha.
So I went home from that with, Paul Levitz took my name and phone number, and then I got a call to do a job like within, DC must have got back to New York. They got back on Monday. I got a call from Paul, I think on Tuesday at my job, which was like really awkward, my full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, "Hey, we got to, would you like to ink a Carmine Infantino story?" And
Yeah.
sure. So
No, but
I
I mean, but going back to going to so you didn't really go to it as a fan. You didn't go there to go buy comic books.
Oh no, I did.
Artwork.
Yeah.
You were there to try to get a job. I mean, did you ever go to?
No. We went to that Chicago show from, I think the first year that they did it at the Pitt Congress might have been 76.
Okay.
The first year was at Playboy.
This is before you're looking for a job. This is just
Yeah,
going as
so
a fan.
the first one might have been the Playboy. There was like a Playboy hotel or something.
In Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
But anyway, so the second year was at the Pitt Congress, and then it was there through like the mid 80s, I think, through like 83 or 4.
Right.
So we went 77, 78, 79, 80.
Now, what did you do when? What did you
That's-
go? What did you go and buy? Did you buy sketches? Did you get
No,
autographs?
no. What I would do is I would go and I would be the guy who was too nervous to talk to the professionals. So I would stand off the side and I would just watch them draw.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I also didn't have money to pay for sketches.
Well, how
And
much were the sketches though? They weren't like hundreds of dollars.
I want to say $10.
Really? And
Yeah.
who would you have seen there? Would you have seen like Gil Kane?
Byrne.
Byrne was there already?
Yeah, Gil Kane. Byrne had, he
Charlton
he
Comics,
did
right?
Chris Claremont, Perez, Marv Wolfman.
Oh, so wait, I'm just saying, so mid-70s, late 70s, so he probably's doing Power Man and Iron Fist maybe, or Marvel Team Up
Who,
then?
Byrne?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't start doing X-Men until like late 70s.
No, Byrne started on X-Men in, was it
108.
78?
Was it
77,
that? Yeah.
78?
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was already established there?
Yeah, and I think he started, I think he started the Fantastic Four around 79 or 80. He had one run with Marv Wolfman in like 79, and then he took over as writer-artist.
No,
like
he did, but I'm just saying his first Marvel work. So, I mean, was he a big name then in the 70s?
Yeah, and Chaykin was there. Howard was there, and maybe Frank Miller could have been there. I know Sienkiewicz was at those shows. Bill was there. He was married to Frankie. I don't remember much except that she ran his table for him. So in other words, she was like the one who took all the orders, and he just sat.
Right. And Bill was just doing sketches, huh?
Yeah, I mean, everybody drew. That's what they do. Nobody really signed comics back then.
Oh, that's so weird. Yeah, nobody signed comics. Yeah, because it would ruin them.
It wasn't a lot. You would sign them on the inside.
Right, you always did that. Yeah.
On the Indicia
I don't know
page.
when that ever became a thing about signing the covers, because that started bothering me too.
I don't think that happened to a great degree until like 1990.
Yeah, because I was like, why are you ruining that book? Because that was like, don't sign the cover.
Death of Superman, that's when I noticed a lot of cover signature stuff. So it was a little before that. But
all right, so when you're not a fanboy and you go in as a professional, what was the first con you did as a official DC artist writer guy?
It was the Chicago Con 1981, and Mike was the guy who ran the talent stuff, or booked the talent and took care of that. And Mike was very nice. And he made me feel like I was a pro. It was really kind of cool because
was he the showrunner or the producer?
No, he just did. I think he handled like the media stuff.
Yeah.
And he also, because he had worked at DC previously, he worked at DC in like mid 70s. Jeanette Kahn had brought him in like 76 or something.
Okay.
And he worked a couple of years. So he went back, but he had all those connections. So you had, he basically put me on a panel, and it was just kind of amazing because I think in 81, it would have been July. I think All-Star Squadron #1 would have come out in June. Maybe one issue of that was out. So I felt kind of like I've been working full-time from the beginning of 1981. So I was working full-time for 6 months, but, they had 3-month plus lead times back then. So your books, weren't coming out right away.
Right.
So I was on a panel, and this is crazy.
What?
On a panel with Bill Sienkiewicz, Gil Kane, Joe Kubert. Those are the guys I remember, but I know there were other guys. Could have been Staten, and there was Joe Staten could have been there.
What was the topic? You were just talking about artists and taking questions from people?
Yeah, it was just like an art panel, like a storytelling or drawing panel.
Oh.
And so I was the new guy, and I really vividly remember that somebody had asked Gil Kane a question. They said, if the writer is the writer and the penciler is the director of a movie, then what is the inker? And Gil Kane famously didn't like inkers. Gil Kane said, the inker is the guy who holds the director's chair.
No, that must have.
He was sitting right next to Joe Kubert.
Yeah.
Joe Kubert had done some inking, not as a regular thing, but had done some. And I was an inker at that point, not by choice, but that's what DC wanted me to do.
Yeah.
So I kind of stood up for myself, and I said, I don't think that's quite fair. I said, the inker adds an awful lot. And Gil didn't argue with me or anything. But then after the panel, I had a conversation just a brief conversation where Joe Kubert came over and he did, good panel, kid, or something.
Yeah,
it was and I felt amazing.
Don't get pushed around by that old coot, you know.
It was just funny. It was just funny because he, I wasn't gonna like say, you're a joker. What are you
I
talking
don't know what you're talking about, Kane. Get out of here with your bad nose job. No. No. Do you have any pictures of that?
What?
Do you have any photographs of you back in the day?
I have photographs. I don't think I have anything from the very beginning, the early panel, because I didn't have a camera with me back then, but I do have some.
Oh, these are shots that like the
from like
stick or the
85.
PR?
I used to bring my camera,
Mm.
and then I would hand it off to people. But then sometimes people would send me pictures. But I think if I have in my photo book, it means that I probably shot them myself with my camera. So me and Dave Gibbons from.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's Gibbons. See, I know most of these guys now as older fellas with gray hair.
Me and Dick Giordano.
Dick Giordano, yeah. Is that
me and Mike Barr?
Mike Barr, yep, he's been at TERRIFICON. Yeah, no, who was the one that was in the upper corner you just had there?
That was me and this one.
Yeah,
that's me and Dick Giordano.
Dick Giordano, okay, thought so.
Yeah, and then we
still have that. Do you still have that shirt?
Huh? No. Oh, you know what? I
oh no, you're gonna say yeah, I do. Watch it.
I saved it for a long time. I used to use it to grass.
I was just kidding.
I have everything. There's from Crisis on Infinite Earths panel from like 85.
Yeah.
I think that could be Chicago or it could be San Diego. It's hard to tell.
Yeah,
it might be Chicago.
Look at Perez looking like the ladies' man with the hair all sweaty.
But look at this one. This is funny because of my expression.
Yeah, you look like you got hit with a fish in the head. Like,
I'm like,
I just got hit with a carp.
What are you talking about?
George, man. George got guns on him there. His arms look big.
But yeah, the shows were fun.
Were the Marvel guys there? Was there like a fight between the guys? Like, don't let the DC Marvel guys mix with each other?
No, but I used to. I'd hang out with Carlin and stuff. Here's a nice shot of.
Well, you said Bill Sienkiewicz. He was working at Marvel then, right? Back in the 70s?
Yeah. Here's a shot of me with my sleeveless T-shirt. Len Wein.
There's Len Wein.
And
what's Len got on his? What's Len wearing on his head? Like
he's wearing a baseball helmet or something.
Yeah, it looks like a batting helmet.
Yeah, it's a San Diego.
Oh, okay.
And then Mike Barr in the background.
And you guys are all at one little booth or something? Did DC have a booth?
DC had like a booth. Here's another how crowded it would be at different times. I'm off the picture. There's Marv, and then the middle guy is Chuck Patton, who did Justice League back then, and then Paul Levitz.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's Levitz. Yeah, Marv still has that look on his face sometimes.
You mean the kind of sneer?
Yeah. When I talk to him, he's like, ah. He did it when he was on. If you saw that episode where he did the Crisis on the Flash.
Oh yeah,
he does that little like the thing like, eh? That's a Marv trademark right there.
Hold on, here's a good one.
Gil Kane?
No, this is the San Diego Con. That's the Jack Kirby Awards.
Is that Roy in the background? And Jack Kirby?
Right in the very middle is Kirby between me and George. We're getting an award for.
No, but I'm saying off to the left. Is that Roy?
No, that's Dave Olbridge.
Oh, Dave Olbridge. Okay.
Yeah, he was Malibu Comics.
Gotcha. What year is that?
85.
I'm sure this is doing great on audio. People are like, I can't see what you're looking at.
Well, that gives them a reason to look at it.
Now, I've seen that photo on George Perez's Facebook page. It's you, Bill, Frank Miller. Is that?
Steve Bissett.
Steve Bissett, yeah, okay.
Steve Rude and Miller and Bissett between them. Karen Berger's on my knee.
Karen Berger, okay.
I mean, not Rude. No. Dave Gibbons and Kirby and That was the award winners that year.
That's San Diego Comic-Con?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
award winners? What'd you win the award for?
We won for Crisis.
Oh, okay.
And then
now that's when the show was still about comic books, right?
Yeah. Well, this was also it's funny because I have another shot of that. So, I think Hank Canals might have taken this picture with my camera. Mm-hmm. So there were other people taking that same shot because we were obviously posed.
Right.
But that was the last year of the Jack Kirby Awards. So San Diego was
Why was
trying to
the
do
last
it.
year they got rid of it?
Yeah, they switched over to the was it the Ink Pot?
Inkwell. No,
No,
Inkpot.
they have
Yeah.
the Ink Pot Awards, I think. So it was just kind of unfortunate because it was neat that because I got the award on the wall and Jack signed it,
Oh, nice.
which is
Really?
kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Again, what was the show like though? What was the 80s conventions like? Were there guys in costume? Did you have cosplayers?
No, the traffic was mostly, there was a line, there would be people crowding around DC,
Mhm.
Marvel, then there was Artist Alley, as they always had an Artist Alley, but you didn't have to sit there all day.
Oh, was
It
there toys
or
and stuff? Was there toy vendors or not really?
there were all kinds of vendors. There were people selling comics, there were people selling just pretty much anything, science
Yeah.
fiction stuff. It was kind of more of an amalgam of all the different hobbies.
Still no movie actors though.
San Diego had Billy Mooney,
Oh, okay.
who Lost in Space, because he was a comic fan, and you had like Mark Hamill could show up.
I think
Mark was
didn't you tell me Miguel Ferrar was there once?
yeah, Miguel. I met Miguel and Billy at the same time, and
Yeah.
Miguel had I met him the year before, and then the year later, like whenever RoboCop came out,
87.
yeah, he showed up with the guy who wrote it, Ed Newmauer, and basically walked around the show. And
That's so funny. That was just on Sunday. I watched
Yeah.
RoboCop with Raphael, and I call it Raphael Ferrar's brother. Raphael's here. It's George Clooney's cousin for people that don't know, but he's also a voiceover fellow that lives in Connecticut. It's
Yeah.
weird.
I mean,
So when did you start to see like the shows start to change though? When did they get bigger? When did you start getting more Hollywood stuff? Was that 2000s maybe or?
the Hollywood stuff. Well, San Diego started changing really in the 90s. But San Diego, like I said, the other people that would show up at San Diego cons, they would get some actors like the Star Trek guys, like
The new one or the old show?
the old show. You would
Okay.
have Walter Koenig would be at San Diego con. You could get Majel Barrett.
Yeah.
It wasn't Shatner or Nimoy.
It was the second tier.
But they would have panels. They would have Star Trek panels and things. And I think it was when they started doing movie panels. That's when the movie stuff started building. Because I think movie people would come to the show. A lot of movie people were comic fans, they would just come incognito.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was an official thing. But then
What about when they did the Batman movie and all that? They didn't do any.
that was, yeah, they did a promotion, but the movie had already come out by then. So it was
okay.
more or less like DC was benefiting from,
Did they have any of the Lois and Clark people or any of the TV actors? That wasn't
the
a thing
year
yet?
that we did, the year that they did the pilot for Lois and Clark, we showed up and we did San Diego. Trying to think, it was 93.
92, Terry Hatcher. Yeah, 92, 93.
So I think it was the year after I left the book. So it would have been 93 maybe when they filmed the pilot.
Mhm.
And at that show, the guy who played Lex Luthor,
yeah.
he was a good guy. He was really nice.
I can't think of his name. He's got the curly, tight hair.
Yeah. But anyways, he showed up and he actually did some signing time at the DC booth.
Really?
He was totally cool about it. He was very into it.
That's gonna bug me now. I could look it up, but that's not gonna help anything.
Yeah. But like I said, it's funny. Not that this is a convention thing. I know we're sidetracking already, but
yeah, that's fine.
somebody sent me these pictures of fan.
Yeah.
They were in, I guess,
that.
Vancouver.
That's
or
Christopher Reeve.
not Vancouver. Is it Vancouver? Yeah, the warm part of Canada.
Was that Superman 3?
I believe it was.
Yeah, that's when he gets the award. When he goes back to Smallville or something for Superman Day.
So
yeah. Oh wow! Some extras took those shots.
Yeah,
that's
they
cool.
had it is kind of cool. I don't know if the back of the picture might have a name on it or not, but
I worry about stuff like that, like the pictures stuck to the photo page.
No, Don Stromberg.
What year?
It's August 1982.
That would be Superman 3 because Superman 2 had come out in 81.
So I guess he was on
set.
They were filming like a carnival scene or something.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, and then he meets Gus Gorman, aka
Yeah. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But Yeah, like I
The
said,
guy got a good shot too. I mean,
well, I think he was one of the crowd extras,
oh,
you know.
okay.
And I used to get, like I said, in 1982, I wasn't even drawing Superman. I was doing All-Star Squadron. So,
No, but still.
but I would get like, I always answered my fan mail,
Mm. Was there any like crazy after parties you could tell us?
at the shows.
Yeah,
Oh, you know what? In those days,
because you didn't
DC,
see all these guys all the time, right? This is like once a year you get together.
yeah, especially like the California guys, you wouldn't really see them except for at San Diego Con, like Mark Evanier and Rick Hoberg and maybe Mike Royer and people, and Kirby basically.
Mm-hmm.
But DC would do a party
Yeah.
on one night, and then Marvel would do a party on another night, and they were like, it was a open bar.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, it was nice, and they would do them at the hotels, and it wasn't, it was like an exclusive. There was mostly professional only, but fan press could get in or whatever, and those were fun. But the shows were always like, we would always try to get together and do a meal.
Yeah.
And then you'd do a party or whatever afterwards. But that was part of. I have some actually. I think I do have a picture of what the lobby stuff. I just have to find it. It was really funny. We used to do these, like at San Diego. The hotel had this piano in the lobby, and people would just gravitate around the
piano.
They would gravitate around the lobby.
Did anyone play? Was Howard Chaykin?
Al Gordon.
Al Gordon would play the piano.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some funny, if I can find them.
Say it was going to be Howard, like tickling the ivories there, playing.
Honestly, I never used to see Howard Chaykin. I wouldn't see him at all.
Well, in the early '90s, he was probably doing TV stuff like the.
Yeah, he had gone to He was. But I wouldn't see a lot of these people after the fact. Well, like when they were doing it, if they were doing a show, they would probably sign at a DC booth. But if you lived in California, if you were in San Diego, you wouldn't even have to go anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't even have to go to a hotel.
When did they start doing the big New York shows?
There were always New York shows, but the Creation Cons used to be in the 70s. I never did them because I was in the Midwest, and it was like a.
No, I remember they would be, the Marvel one was at the Commodore Hotel, and there was one at, I think, down at Madison Square Garden or something like that.
Yeah.
I know Spencer Beck ran a big one for years at Madison Square Garden in the early 80s.
Here's a good shot from San Diego Con.
Is that Vampirella?
Yeah, she was super nice too.
What year is that?
I'm going to say it's probably based on my shirt.
No, because I remember.
Well, Topps is there too. So
I remember they had a Vampirella actress that would go around to the comic book shops.
Yeah.
In the early 90s, because my friend Joe Murley and I were walking around the Milford Mall, and they had a comic shop there back then, and she was there. And Joe was like, "Oh my God, who is this vampire woman?" I go, "Vampirella." And then she goes, "Well, I got to leave now. I got to do another comic shop up the road." So he hopped in his car and we drove up the road to go see her again. He's like, "Can we keep following you around, Vampirella, or whatever?"
So you were stalkers.
We were fans, Jerry. We were fans. And that was for that other photo you had. That was the Superman coming through the wall at DC Comics, because I remember seeing it when I went to my interview, and that was the.
I designed that.
That was funny. I remember walking in off the door for the receptionist, and that was the first thing I saw.
Yeah, that was.
Tell me they kept making it shorter or something, like the arms. They were making it.
Well, when they first
did it. Yeah.
When they first sculpted it, the arms were like really long.
Is that Carlin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike was always good for a funny picture. He always posed for something.
Mm.
Here's a good one. This was Alan Hanley's Universe, the comic store. Do you remember those?
Yeah. I remember that one. Yeah.
It was in Alexander's Plaza. Remember that building was Alexander's department store? It was a mall, kind of like multi-store.
Yeah.
On was it the 23rd or 30th?
Yeah. Well, there was Forbidden Planet. There was
that was in lower Manhattan.
That was on 13th Street. Forbidden.
This was in like a building where Alexander's was a department store.
Yeah, no, yeah, they had one here in Milford too.
Yeah, and they had the whole building, so they would, it was more of a case where they would basically.
Department store. They had a basement. Like, here, you guys want this?
The Alan Hanley's Universe store was like amazing. Had tons of books. They were really good.
You don't mean Jim Hanley?
Oh yeah, Jim Hanley.
Jim Hanley, yeah, because Jim Hanley's that was across the street from The Empire State Building. They moved finally.
Here's a picture of
Stanley's comic book universe.
Mike Carlin's office.
Oh my
I'd
God!
say probably 1986 or 7.
Like wanted posters, at the post office. Is that Pee Wee Herman on the wall?
It's a picture of me on the wall. I was doing a Superman pose.
Uh-oh, it means it's 9 o'clock. Your three
But
steers.
we didn't start right away.
No, I know. I'm just saying I'm trying to keep it going today because I don't want people to say Andy Helfer.
Helfer, yeah. But anyways.
No, so I was just thinking the first nothing. I was going to say that's nothing like the cons I went to here. I went to a couple at the North Haven Holiday Inn, and there was just comic book dealers. You paid $1 to get in, and you just shop for comics. And the first celebrity I ever met at a comic show was Wally Wood in New Haven on Whaley Avenue. Wally was, I don't know how old, late 60s maybe?
I don't think he was that old when he died, so he's probably
well, he looked a lot old. He looked I mean, he was the big guy there, and I said, I don't know who the hell this Wally Wood is. What kind of comic book legend is that? And my buddy goes, he's right next to you. And he was standing right next to me. And I go home, and sure enough, I bought Daredevil #8. And the red costume was designed by who? Wally Wood. And I'm like, oops.
You were just a dopey kid.
I was a dopey kid. Yeah, I could have got him to sign it. But no, I insulted the man. And then he killed himself shortly after. True story, kids. My friend would call me up all the time. You killed Wally Wood. I'm like, thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy. And then there was a couple big shows in the 80s. They would have them in New Haven. I remember there was a Star Trek comic book convention. And at the same time in Macy's, Elle McPherson was there doing a charity signing. So
Creation used to do shows in New Haven, too.
They did. And then there was one up in Hartford, too. They used to do science fiction Star Trek conventions.
Yeah.
Which is funny because the name of the company that did that was called Slanted Fedora Marketing, and my show's Big Fedora Marketing. I had no idea, but when I came out with the name, people were like, "Are you related to the guy that used to do the shows in the '80s?" I'm like, "No." Oh, he was a jerk. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm his son." No, so.
Oh, here's a good one about the conventions. When I think it was the first year I did San Diego Con would have been, I want to say it was 80. It might have been 84. But
okay.
No, I'm questioning that. I think it was 84.
I wasn't there. You were there. So.
Yeah, but anyway.
Why would it be 84? What book were you on?
It was right before Crisis.
So that would be 84, yeah.
So it makes sense because DC would send me different places because I was working on Crisis. You'd go to more shows and do time at the DC booth or whatever. But
did you have a fan base then?
Yeah.
Yeah. People were like, oh my God, it's Jerry Ordway.
Well, it was people who liked All-Star Squadron, like the Earth 2. Okay. So, they were always there. But I was sitting at the DC table signing, and Jerry Siegel was sitting next to me.
Oh.
And it was like, introduce myself. We start talking and stuff. And I asked him to sign. I showed him my All-Star Squadron cover.
Yeah.
I'd drawn Superman, the Golden Age Superman. Mm-hmm. And I asked him to sign the inside, and I found that comic when I was going through stuff. That's the problem about, you kind of forget you have stuff like that. But
I remember I was kicking myself the other day thinking, oh, I should have got Rich Buckler when I had him as a guest here in Bridgeport back in 2014. I should have got him to sign my Deathlock first appearance because that was my favorite character, right? So as I'm cleaning books, I found it. And then in the lower corner,
it's signed.
It's signed by Rich Buckler. There it is right there. He did sign it for me. So I was like, oh, I must have forgot that I got him to sign it because Perez was there at the Bridgeport show. Right. So was Klaus Janson. And I was going to get all three of them to sign it, and I totally spaced, but I only got Rich. But I could still get Klaus, and I could still get George. So I'll have to complete this one day.
Maybe you wished it into existence. Maybe you actually
didn't. Honestly, I don't remember him signing this, and I remember kicking myself because you were there. You were next to Herb Trimp. And you guys were counting how many times Rich Buckler kept walking outside to smoke a cigarette. I think it was like 20-something times on Saturday. He couldn't sit still. He never sat down.
Yeah.
He stood there the entire time, and he just, he kept just.
Yeah, because he had to go right between me and Herb.
Yeah, to get out
to go out to the smoking area. And I saw Jose Luis Garcia Lopez multiple times that day, but Rich was there, like I said, every 15 minutes.
I remember I had no room. You got to remember, this was a hockey arena. It's designed for rock and roll circuses and hockey shows. And I converted the food court area to the artist alley, and I had to put Colleen Doran next to the soft ice cream machine. And she was like, I like, because the sun was coming through there, just like you were talking about. It would
Oh,
heat
she
up
got
over there.
right.
And the cooler air was right near the ice cream machine. So Colleen was like right on top of the thing, freezing her butt off. And next to her, I think I moved Lee Weeks over there because Lee was in the corner cooking. And can you move me over there? So I moved him over there, and I think Danny Fingeroff. So all around this ice cream machine, you had these people signed. Yeah.
So they melted the ice cream for you.
No, that was a good show because they had George Perez was there. Joe Rubenstein was next to him, inking stuff, and then next to him was Bob. What's his name? The colorist.
Bob Camp or Bob McLeod?
No, not Bob. The colorist.
Oh.
What's it? Tom Smith. Tom Smith. Not.
Oh,
yeah. So what was happening? George would pencil stuff, hand it off to Joe. Joe would ink it, and then they'd hand it to Tom, and Tom would color it in. So there's like a little assembly line going on there. So, good thing we're self-isolating right now, or I'd have to be.
Well, now I've just sneezed into my shirt. So I want to tell you another good story from San
We'll
Diego.
We'll be the judge of that, Jerry.
Okay. San Diego Con. Well, we used to do this. Like, we would go to the shows. We did this with Chicago as well.
Yeah.
I guess Chicago works too. We went to the Pitt Congress bar. Mike Macklin and I. We got to the show on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Because the show opened Friday. At that point, it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show.
Yeah.
So we get in, we drive in from Milwaukee, we get there about like 7:30 or something. We check into the hotel and we go to the bar.
Yeah.
So we go down to the bar, and who's there in the bar? Gil Kane and his wife.
Oh.
We didn't know him.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, we're both like kind of scared to
I
talk.
thought you said he ripped you inkers apart years earlier.
That's why we were afraid of him. So,
okay.
So what we did was we kept sending him drinks. We kept buying him drinks, and he would he'd hoist the glass. So we had kind of like a confrontational drinking thing. But anyways, then on the last day of that show, Sunday, he walks up to my table, and I suddenly thought, oh my God, because he's the type of guy who could spontaneously come to your table, and he would give you a critique of your artwork. And I didn't, I was too fragile. I just didn't want Gil Kane to
comes up to you and says, I was on the wagon for 32 years, but thanks for all those drinks, buddy. Now I got to go see a friend of Bill's.
No, he comes
over.
He comes up to me. He says, oh, I know you're sharing a studio with Pat Broderick. And I said, oh, yeah, Pat had moved to Wisconsin for like a period of year and a half or so. Mm-hmm. And we were in a studio together. And he goes, well, let me tell you about Pat's work. And then he spent like 10 minutes tearing Pat's work apart.
Oh,
Pat
nice. Nice. Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And then he goes, do you know where Dan Jurgens is? And I'm like, he's right over there.
Yes. I got something to tell that kid too. And where's this Jerry Ordway guy? You go, never heard of him.
Funny. It was just funny.
So and Gil Kane just offered here's what I think of you comments.
He would spontaneously critique people.
Were they ever?
And he was right, but it was like, can you handle that? You can't handle the truth. So, but he would
just comes up to random people and starts saying, and I don't like the way you draw elbows. Okay.
Well, Roy did that.
Pointy kneecaps.
I had pointy kneecaps and pointy elbows.
Wow.
But anyways, it's funny. So I spent years being afraid to talk to Howard Chaykin as well.
Oh, well, that's justifiable.
We had at Chicago at one of those early shows, like in the late 70s. I hadn't seen it, but a friend of mine had seen this happen like maybe half hour before, where some kid brought their samples up and Howard just like chewed the kid out and pretty much made the kid cry or whatever.
That was me. I was one of those people.
And so that became like all of my friends were like going around, did you hear what Chaykin did to that kid? Did you hear it?
Yeah.
I was afraid to talk to Howard. And I never even officially went up and met him until Pat Bastine, who is DC's production head. Yeah. Pat took me around to San Diego Con, and she said, "Oh, do you know Chaykin? Howard, he's a sweetheart." So she introduced me. Howard was really nice, and then she introduced me to Neil Adams as well. I was like, these were all people I was afraid to meet. She introduced me to Jim Steranko. So I got all that out of the way because they all
all those people you mentioned. I swear I'd be scared to death in a dark alley if they were at the other end. Steranko, Neil, and Shake, and I'd be like, I'm gonna die. Yeah.
But the one Chicago con, there was a funny story at this con. It was, again, it would have been like early 80s.
Yeah.
It was when Frank was doing Daredevil, when he first was doing Daredevil, before Batman stuff, whatever. So it might have been 82 or something. I think it was at apparently we were all talking about this because apparently some kid had followed him into the bathroom after the show. Yeah. Or whatever. They followed him into one of the bathrooms and he went into a stall.
This doesn't sound good.
Sketchbook under the door. And we were all going, why did he just use it to wipe?
Can you sing this here?
Yeah. But when we'd hear stuff as at that point I was a professional, we'd hear those stories and it would be like, wow, how can somebody do that?
No, my
how can you expect a good outcome if you follow somebody into a bathroom? They're going to sit on the toilet and draw you a sketch.
Neil would.
Like, wash your hands, kids.
No, I was going to say my scary encounter with Howard Chaykin happens when the Bravura comic book line came out.
Right. So
that would have been like 1992.
No, that would have been after Image. So 93? That would have been 94-ish.
Okay.
93,
so
94.
Yeah, maybe around there. So I did my own comic. I penciled it. It was based on me and my friend Joe Murley. And I had the whole thing done, inked and everything. And I was trying to get it printed, and I didn't know how to get distributed. So right. Howard's there. It's Howard. Who was the guy that did The Punisher for a while? Dave Mazzucchelli?
The Punisher? Was it Bill Reinhold? Or
no, it was Italian last name. Anyway. So they're at we're at the Avenue of America's hotel. Was it 1325 or something like that? The Sheridan.
That's where DC was.
Yeah, there was a comic convention there. So I went into the show, purposely came down there, took my Sharon, who was not my wife yet, she's still my girlfriend. So I had my portfolio, I had this book. Howard's there, Mike Mignola's there. Hellboy had just started coming out, maybe, right. And he just had a baby. Because he had the baby, and I remember holding the elevator door for him and his baby. I think it's a baby girl. I don't remember. And then Starlin was there, and they just had done that Bravura line. Starlin was doing Breed, and Howard's doing Power and Glory.
Simon's
doing Star Slammers, maybe? Yep. And they're all there. I can't remember who was doing the Punisher book. But anyway, I go up to Howard. I wait my turn. I got my book. I said, hey, Mr. Chaykin, I'm a big fan of American Flag. I loved all your stuff. Love The Shadow. Here's this book. I just have a lot of questions for you. How does one get a distributor? How does one get published? How does one do this and this and that? And I'm just bombarding him with all these questions. And he's like, what? Stop, slow down, stop. And I go, what? He goes, why are you doing all this? What are you doing this for? I said, so I can make money. What are you doing this for? He goes, make money? What? What kind of artist are you? I said, one that's trying to draw a paycheck. He goes, listen. You have a God-given ability. He's looking at the artwork. You have a talent. God gave you this stuff. You got to draw it for the love of it. You got to do it for why you want to do it is the love, not for a paycheck. You can't do it for money. You know what we call people that just do things for money? We call them whores. And everyone's listening as he's lecturing me. And my girlfriend Sharon, going to be my wife, she's standing there like, what the is wrong with this guy? So
should I marry him?
No, he's ripping me apart. He's ripping me apart. Like, you gotta draw for the love of art. I don't talk to whores. I don't do this. I don't do that. Just get out of here. You're nothing. If you're not doing this for the love of artwork or the storytelling, you're just a whore, a prostitute. And two of the other artists, I gotta remember who was next to him. They all kind of looked over like, holy Jesus, let the kid go, will you? So he's ripping me apart, and I'm like, well, I want to crawl out of there like so bad. And then I stop, and then I get my New Haven up, and I go, hey, Chaykin. And he goes, what? I go, this your book? And I pick up the Power and Glory, and he's signing. He goes, yeah. I go, how much is this? He goes, oh, it's like $2 or whatever. I go, and if I buy it, you'll sign it? He goes, yeah. Do you want a copy? I go, no, I just want to see what your rate is, whore. And he goes, what? I go, so you're a $2 whore. He goes, the fuck out of here. Get out of here. I just saw my own show. So he started yelling at me about get the F out of here. And my wife goes, wow, you're a real asshole. And she goes, and he's yelling at her now. So we leave, and I'm there, and then I bump into McNolan in the elevator, and I'm just devastated. I'm like, I'm going to go home. I'm putting the comic book on the shelf. I'm just going to go back to work as a graphic designer and doing catalogs, and there goes the career that never was. Flash forward 2011, I'm at Baltimore Comic-Con. I'm going to interview Klaus Janson, because he worked on the Indiana Jones comic book, Walt Simonson, because Walt wrote Raiders Lost Ark, the movie adaptation. Klaus inked it. And Howard Chaykin was next to him, and he did a couple Indiana Jones issues, wrote and drew them, okay? So I did Simonson, I did Walt and Louise, I did Klaus, and then Howard was the next guy. So I'm sitting there, and I got the microphone out, and I'm going to do it for the IndieCast and the Raider.net. So I sit there, and Howard goes, okay, babe. And it's you can still hear this interview. And I go, we're going to set up. He goes, yeah. Give me a couple minutes. And we sit down, and he introduces himself. He goes, oh, I'm Howard Chaykin. I go, yeah, I know who you are. He goes, why? Do I know you? I go, 20 years ago, Chaykin, you and me met in New York at the Sheraton Hotel. He goes, okay, do I owe you money? I go, there's two people on my hate list, Hitler and Howard Chaykin. And depending on the day, it's a toss-up who's one and who's two. He goes, oh my God, what did I do? And I told him the whole story. And then he go, and Klaus stops. He's looking over, and Walt and Louise are looking over. And Howard goes, wait, when did this happen? I go, like 93, 94. He goes, I was drinking on drugs. I don't remember that. I don't know. And then he goes, wait, what's even worse is you've harbored this hatred inside of you, this wasted energy for how many years? I go, about 18, 20 years. You could have done so much good with that energy, and you just hated me ever since. I go, yeah, I got nothing else to do. And he goes, oh my God, Jesus Christ. And he goes on, he does the whole interview. And the next morning I see him on Sunday, and he stops me. He goes, hey, can I buy you lunch? I thought about that all night long, and it really bothered me that you've hated me for all these years. I go, yeah, let it go. So now he comes to, and when his birthday would come on Facebook, I would always write to him, happy birthday, your friend, the Horror Master. And finally, when I invite him to come to my show, I'm sitting there, and I told him the story. He goes, oh, that was you? I go, yeah, that was me. So, and my wife loves him now. She says, oh, that's that sweet guy. I love him. He's so funny. And this, I go, you called him an asshole back in 1994 to his face. She goes, that guy? Yeah, oh, he's not. And there's a picture of all of us last year at the bar. Remember? Howard was leaving. It's you, me, and Sharon. And Howard comes over. He's giving me a kiss. And I'm like, this is the guy that called me a whore back in 1994. Now we're all one big friend. So,
and you've exploited your victimhood.
Yeah, I did. And I got, you know how it was great? Because he hates talking about Star Wars. And I wrote him a letter, and it was the 40th anniversary of the Star Wars comic book. And I said, Howard, would you please do a panel with Roy Thomas and Charles Lippincott, of all people, who is the marketing guy, at my show? He hasn't done it. He said, I won't do it for San Diego. I won't do it for New York, but I'll do it for you. And that's it. We're done. I go, okay. So there was that meeting of everybody at that show. And Roy had his original yellow T-shirt from 1976 San Diego. And Charles Lippincott came in with a replica. And they asked Howard, he goes, I don't have that thing. I gave that to my niece years ago. I threw it away. It's too funny, though. He's like, okay, we're done. I don't owe you anything anymore. I'm like, yes.
Well, and you know where that came from. I heard this, I think I read it in one of those
comic Star Wars hatred?
No, the fact that Chaykin would do these really brutal reviews. He did that because he got brutal reviews.
Oh, so it just
he got. I mean, it sounded like he got it from Gil Kane, and he got a bad review from Neil Adams, and he felt like that was a good thing.
He's just passing on the tradition
because it made you work harder or something. So you
just gave up and become.
You took the wrong lesson out of it. You got the wrong.
I know.
Lesson.
I should have just got my determination and my spunk on and went back and said, I'll show you, Howard Chaykin. But I just conformed and became a graphic designer. And yeah, I sit here in this hovel. Thanks, Howard. No, Roy Doty ruined me. Roy Doty was the cartoonist who did Laugh-In. Remember that show?
And he used to do a how-to page in
Wood magazine.
Handyman.
Yeah, Handyman. Yeah.
For like 30 years.
I went to do my internship at Mort Walker Studio. You know Mort Walker? Beetle Bailey and High and Lois? High and Lois was done with Dick Brown's son, Brian Brown.
So you did an internship with them? You did an internship with them?
I went in for it, and Dick Brown, who did Hagar the Horrible, I'm going to say his son's name was Brian?
Chris.
Okay. So what they did is
Mort Walker's son is Brian.
Mart Walker's Brian,
Yeah.
but they don't really draw those comic strips at the time. They had a bunch of ghosts that would they would just stamp Mort Walker's name on a lot of it, but he wasn't really doing the day to day. They had
Chris Brown was drawing it, and Greg Walker was basically writing it with supervision.
There you go. So they would have this team of people in the studio doing these comic strips for the newspaper. So I went in there to be an intern, and Roy Doty shows up, and Roy Doty's this old cartoonist guy, and he's friends with these people, and he looks at my portfolio. And he starts screaming at me about how I can't draw hands right. And I'm like, I'm just a kid. I was like maybe 19. I was in college, 20. I said, well, that's the whole idea of the apprenticeship. I'm supposed to be here cleaning the studio, and you're supposed to give me little tips. Maybe there's like a little secret how to draw a hand that I don't know about. And he's like, all fired up. He's like, no, go home, get a mirror, practice drawing your hands for 6 months, and then come back to me, and I'll see if I'll hire you for this studio.
And that's good. That's a good advice there. That's.
But I'm arrogant. I didn't want to draw 6 months. I go, what the, I'm not waiting.
I use my hand when I'm drawing hands because you got a hand. I use my face because I got a face.
I know, but
that's how you learn.
When you draw, see, I always got accused of this. Maybe it's some kind of weird disorder I have. If I'm drawing, I start to make faces of what I'm drawing. Like if I'm making a face, I start going, surprise. I'm like, it's weird because people will watch me. They go, do you realize your face is contorting as you draw? I go, yeah, because I'm trying to emote.
Right. But that's why drawing is not a spectator sport.
No, it's creepy as all hell because people used to be in the drawing class with me and they look over and get scared because I'm over there like, Sharon, my wife, makes fun of me because you'll see this.
Right. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
And she's like, why is the tongue sticking out? I go, I don't know. It just happened.
Because I'm in a Little Rascals movie.
Get up, William. By the way, did you know who was Butch's best friend in those movies? Totally off the sub. This is how come it's a 4-hour podcast.
Blake.
No, he was Little Beaver and he was Mickey on another one.
Okay.
Gene Reynolds, producer of MASH, the TV show, was a child actor and then went into work in other movies. But he was Butch's sidekick. I think his name is Woim, which I was like, was that supposed to be Worm? But they just said Woim. Come on, Woim. That was Gene Reynolds' thing. Why did they have Brooklyn accents when all those kids were from California? The Hal Roach.
Weren't they supposed? They were supposed to be set, in the New York.
But I think they were all filmed out in California, though.
I don't know that those were initially. I mean, I think they were afterwards.
Hal Roach Studios.
Yeah.
I just assumed everything was California because Laurel and Hardy.
I think they also tried to, because they didn't. I mean, there's probably a bigger population in the East than there was in California, so I think they kept because there's a lot of Brooklyn in in the movies, early movies.
Yeah, like when you watch the westerns. Yeah. I'm from Oklahoma. Yeah.
Oh,
I want a sarsaparilla.
The Oklahoma Kid.
Who's in that?
I think it's Jimmy Cagney and Humphrey Bogart's the bad guy.
Yeah. It is Jimmy Cagney. Yeah.
Humphrey Bogart, the card sharp or whatever.
Where you from? From Mississippi. Really? Is that
by way of Brooklyn?
I was gonna say, is that in Yonkers? Yeah. I punched a cow. What are you gonna do about it? Yeah, I'm a cowpoke. Yeah,
so all the years that I was in Wisconsin, the first New York show that I went to first New York comic show was when Fred Greenberg was doing the shows at the Javits Center in the late 80s.
That's the one I think Beck was working with.
He did them, I think in 80, I want to say 88, 89, 90, 91.
Mm.
And then they had there was 1 year, no, it was up through 80, 89. There was like a big snowstorm that basically killed that show because it snowed.
Yes, that's right.
Snow on the Friday or the Saturday of the show.
Yep.
And a lot of guests, the roads were closed. So he basically had the show went on without people.
Yeah.
And then he lost money and owed money to people. So Nick Berucci did a show at the Javits around the time of Death of Superman or the year after.
Nick Berucci, publisher of Dynamite Comics.
Yeah, but it was like he was doing it under the radar for some reason. Maybe and possibly Fred Greenberg was supervising it, but because he probably owed people money and had bad will and all that. But
I think Fred, the last show Fred did, I was going to say, was in Stamford, Connecticut, at the same place that we did a show once.
oh yeah, I don't know.
There
I
was
haven't.
and no one showed up for it, and it had like John Romita Jr., John Romita Sr. It was a great guest list, but something happened. Either there was a storm or whatever happened. Nobody was
Well,
there.
the one at the Javits that used in the old days, that was a long walk from Grand Central to the Javits.
Oh yeah. Are you kidding me? Now this thing, the what is it, Harbor Yards? You could just go.
Yeah,
right
now
over
you have the subway that goes right there or whatever.
No, but before it was at least an 18 or 20 block walk.
Yeah, but that was one of those shows where you talk about it became monstrously crazy and media shows.
Mhm.
Once the Image stuff happened in the late, like from '92, it became more Hollywood and like crazy. I remember walking into Chicago Con the one year. I think it was the year after my daughter was born, so it'd probably been '93, and everybody had giant TV displays and giant multimedia things, and you'd walk in and it sounded like a rock concert. There'd be like music playing, visuals. That was such a change, and it was because there was comics that's a couple comics that sold millions of copies, and other people suddenly smelled blood in the water, and you had Sci-Fi had a comic brand. You had Topps, all these new comic, companies. Everybody was trying to outcompete for the booth space and to get people, and it really became nuts. I mean, one of the big changes too was that at the time those were very not kid-friendly shows.
No.
They started getting Playboy and Penthouse Pets doing trading card sets and like.
Oh yeah. Remember the show we did in Massachusetts?
Oh yeah.
And we were at they put us in some table in the corner.
Well, they had the Housewives of New Jersey or something. They had
They had Burt Reynolds there. That was the big draw. Remember Burt Reynolds was there?
Yeah.
But they put us in what they call Lipstick Lane.
Right.
And where they would get the Penthouse and the Hustler and the Playboy Playmates.
Right. Really attractive.
Very attractive.
Little blonde kept walking past.
Yeah, Sarah Underwood. Sarah Underwood kept walking by us. Yeah.
Very cute.
It just smelled like perfume over there. Just remember we were sitting there. I'm like, wow, this is really perfumey over here. The whole room. Lipstick Lane. Yeah. There's some odd things you see at these shows. But when's the first time you saw a big cosplay thing?
Well, I was just going to say, like at the Chicago cons that I was talking about in the early '80s, the con itself used to have a costume contest on Saturday night. So the show would run till say 5, and then they would have like one of the panel rooms would be a judging for a costume contest, and it would be, they'd give away prizes. They'd give away books, they'd give away, whatever, gift certificates and things like that. So that was when you saw people in cosplay. It wasn't through the whole show. It was generally around the costume thing. Because we had a friend of ours, a guy used to had a comic shop in Milwaukee. His wife was really super nice, but she would help out. At one point, she was helping out at Mike Grell's table, and they were big Grell fans. So she dressed up for this costume thing as Black Widow, the fishnet costume Black Widow. And she was quite. Oh yeah, she was quite built. So she came. I don't know what the deal was. She came by. It was right before the show, before the costume contest, and she was like really nervous. And she was standing and we were Mike Macklin, and we were all standing off to the side watching the contest. And we had gotten shots of vodka and stuff from the bar to take in there because the show is over for the day, right? So we're holding, and she comes by and she goes, "Oh, I could really use a drink." And I handed her the shot, and she went, "Oh my God, it's vodka! I didn't know it was." But then as she got courage and she, went up and did her, because you had to walk, basically almost like a fashion show. They had back and forth in front of the crowd, and then they would base it on how loud the applause was for each person. So it was quite funny that.
I remember the first time I started noticing was when guys were dressing up as Klingons, and you'd see them show like homemade outfits. And homemade outfits. Yeah, it wasn't fancy. It was just
you would see. I remember seeing that at San Diego Con in the '80s. But the more elaborate stuff, it really was like it was more about a costume contest. People
It
were
was
kind of
more like homemade, like
oh yeah,
fan
yeah.
friendly. It wasn't like screen accurate. That
No,
all that all changed in the
but you
last
could,
10 years. Yeah.
yeah, you had to make your own costume. I mean, that
Right,
was
right,
the
right.
craft was also, it was kind of like someone learning to draw. Well, these were people who could make beautiful costumes.
Right,
You
right. Now it's crazy. I mean, the people that come to the show every year, it's like some of the things I see at Terrificon are like, oh my God, they should be
Well,
working in Hollywood.
if you've gone on, like, you can go on Amazon and you can, or eBay, you can
Oh
find
my
any
God.
costume,
Yeah.
spandex, whatever. I mean,
Oh yeah,
they're
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
costumes.
you get
Some
the
people still make,
pre-made ones now too. They would have the musculature
yeah, yeah, but
already
some people
designed.
still make them. Like the one girl that I met at Heroes Con last year
Mm.
had the Marvel Captain Marvel costume, and she came up to my table and we'd got a picture, like,
You
you know,
mean
me.
the new Captain Marvel, the one from the movies
Yeah, yeah.
with the
If she had the movie
jacket?
costume
Yeah.
and she'd made it herself, and it was like, wow, that's really cool.
Oh,
So,
okay.
you know, not everybody's, you know, doing the
Store-bought thing.
internet
Yeah.
or store bought. Yeah.
I saw one guy once dressed as MODOK. That was great. I saw the costume. I remember, I think it was up in Hartford. That was one of the best
I
costumes.
have the MODOK figure too. You know that. That's funny.
This
We
one?
both have MODOKs. Yeah, I
Oh, I
have
have
that.
another MODOK. I have a more like elaborate. This is more cartoony.
I have that one. I think it's in a box
You had to
downstairs.
build the figure or something to build MODOK because I'm like,
Uh,
MODOK's one of the best freakish looking characters ever. I mean, I was just saw Mike McCone did a MODOK. He was selling for $500. I go, oh, if I had the money right now, I would
with
buy it.
Arnim, that's a Kirby, but Arnim Zola is also a very weird one.
Yeah,
Arnim,
with the TV in his gut and the little
right?
door for a head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not as crazy as this one. Look at this. Fighting American with artwork by Jerry Ordway. Speaking of, you just
That
did
was
the
fun to do. I was glad to do that.
variant. I found this when I'm doing my comic book sorting. Like, where would you put this? I don't have any other Fighting Americans.
Yeah,
One off. I only got it because you did the cover.
yeah,
So I have a miscellaneous box,
yeah.
which
I
is
have I actually found a couple of the original Fighting Americans when we were doing going to that comic store in Bridgeport.
oh,
I found a
Black
couple of,
Cat.
yeah,
Wait, you found some there?
yeah,
When was the Fighting American, in the 60s?
50s.
There were some in those boxes there?
Yeah.
That place
I
was crazy. I tell people about that. We'd go in there. I found a copy of The Night Nurse,
Yeah.
which was like a 4-issue Marvel book, and I didn't think anything about it, and I put it back, and then I go home and tell somebody, they go, you do know those are worth like $100 each. I go, what? Because it was a very low run,
Right.
and
Right.
it wasn't popular. It was just The Night
Yeah.
Nurse, and I didn't realize it was a big deal, and I'm like, never found. Remember, we'd go
Yeah.
back, and I'd start trying to look where we were.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I never would find stuff again.
Well, because stuff, yeah, it was just it was like going through the government warehouse in Indiana
Raiders,
Jones.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the first couple times we went there, and that place was there years before we went there. Because I
Yeah.
had somebody ask me, they go, "Did you ever go to Black Cat Comics?" I go, "Where's that?" They go, "In Bridgeport." The guy doesn't have new books; it's just old books. I go, "Why would you go there?" And then you and I went in there, and there was like 200 long boxes.
Yeah.
All nothing was in order. Everything was out.
Yeah.
There was no
Well,
bag
we
books.
spent hours. We spent hours
Oh,
through stuff.
we would find stuff. I mean, you got a lot of Strange Tales, like
Yeah.
the original run.
Well, I
And
picked up a bunch of Marvel stuff from that. Like I got some Fantastic Fours. I got the
Fantastic Four.
Nick Fury and the Strange Tale stuff. I got
Yep.
some Iron Mans. I got. I think I got a couple
That's
of Avengers.
Submariners. I got a lot of. I remember you and I went there the first time, and then the second time we went back, and on the way out or the way in, the guy was walking out with a stack of the Spider-Mans from like the 60s.
Yeah.
He had them all like issue 50, 54. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
my God, why didn't I get those? But
Yeah, I
there's
got a
lot of them.
couple of weird. I got some EC comics from that in that same batch. That's where
Oh,
I
yeah?
found. I bought like a couple of Weird Science with Wally Wood covers, and that's where I got the Fighting
Kurtzman?
America. And I think the Fly, the Kirby Simon and Kirby Fly,
That was there. Well, the
50s.
Archie comics, right?
But those were like 1958.
Oh, not the relaunch, not the one that was in the late 60s.
No, no.
That was the Archie.
So, I mean, it was, but that's what at a comic convention, like we were saying, what do you buy at a show?
You buy some
The thing
weird
I
books.
would do is on the last day of a con,
Yeah.
Sunday, if I wasn't like Chicago, I wasn't flying home. I would drive home
So you
at
go
whatever time
shopping,
I could go
yeah.
whenever. So I would go to all the art dealers and I would look, and a lot of times there were good deals. So I think those were the first pieces of artwork that I bought were at, like 5 o'clock on a Sunday as people were starting to close up.
Yeah.
So,
that's one of the best. Everyone knows that's one of the best deals. If you're really into collecting comics, you go the last 2 or 3 hours of the show on a Sunday because everyone's hoping to make some more money. They don't want to pack up everything, and you can actually.
They don't want to have to try. Yeah, they don't want to take it back with them or whatever.
You can't buy little great books like this. I think this is David Kraft. It's just it's bubble gum in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are mini comics.
I have this one in Captain America.
Did you know that they did those in the 60s, right?
Not this.
They did mini comics. They were like in with the same size as a stick of bubble gum
this one's from Naperville, Illinois. It's called Bubble Funnies, but I gotta say it's got to be the.
That's it. Probably
70s,
late 70s. Is that late 70s?
I got 2 or 3.
When I was a kid, probably before I even discovered the comics themselves. It was around 67, 66, 67. The corner store that was next to the grade school. Yeah. They were like bubblegum card size. Yeah. They were little Marvel. They were, done in one color. They were black or, line art.
Marvel trading cards?
No, they were comics. They were like not a full comic, but they were like little comics with, how a little paper pad would have
like a post-it pad,
gummed end, and they would have drawings on each page. They were really tiny.
You're not talking about the little Marvel ones, are you?
Yeah.
They're actually reprinting those. They're coming out this August because they were on eBay for $29. It's the whole set. It's like a little tiny library with these little thumb size.
Yeah, they were real tiny. Little. Yeah, I remember those.
You got those in a gumball machine, or you got those in a?
No, at the store. They were like in a package, like you would get like a baseball set or something. They were like that.
And I thought this was like a gumball machine thing because I was like, oh, that's so cool. I never saw that before.
And I never had any. I mean, that's the type of stuff that I didn't save because I didn't really have a way to save.
Funny? I'm gonna say the late 70s. You remember gumball machines, right?
Yeah.
The quarter in or the dime and the nickel, and you turn it and you get a little toy or gumball.
The plastic thing, right? The like plastic.
The little plastic bubble thing. Yeah. There were these. They used to have little Gumbies when I was a kid. Remember Gumby, the little character? Yeah. They used to have little like red and green little ones. But they had these plastic, they look like shot glasses, and they were Marvel characters. And what happened is you'd get the little clear plastic cup, and you get this sticker, and you'd peel off the clear decal, and you'd put it on the sticker. And they had Thor, Captain America, Spider-Man, like the main ones. And they were everywhere. I used to have tons of these little cups. Yeah. I look on eBay, those little cups are like $200. Like, what are you talking about? Because no one saved them. They all were a quarter. They would buy them, and the kids would throw them away because it was junk. Yeah, that's the stuff that's worth a lot because no one saved any of that stuff.
Well, they must have made. I think Marvel also had the tattoos.
Yeah,
the transfer tattoos.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I have a comic book.
Yeah.
No, they were giving out free samples in the comic book, and it says, if you have the Marvel tattoos in the book, it's worth more than if they're ripped out because it's intact.
When were they in the books?
It was when the Hobgoblin came out with Spider-Man and Romita Senior, Junior. I have that issue. I think it's issue 258 or something like that. Yeah. So that's got to be. When was John Junior doing it? Late 80s?
Yeah, but he did it a long time. But that would have been.
But his dad.
The Hobgoblin was Roger Stern, so it would have been Roger Stern's run.
Yeah, so that's got to be late 80s, right?
Yeah, it was. Well, he came on Superman in '88.
Well, Spider-Man's wearing the black costume in it.
It would have been before '88, so it would have been. He probably wrote Spider-Man from like maybe '85 to '80.
Anyway, but yeah, there was tattoos in the '80s in the back of those books. These little like.
Well, they used to be able to. Tattoos were big, just like everything's big. When I was a kid, I remember there was like, again, they were like bubblegum card pack size, but you would get like they had Archie Comics tattoos, Betty and Veronica.
No.
And there were, the tattoos, they were like decals. You basically
you just
butter, and then you'd hold them on, and you pull them, and they would train. But I remember Marvel ones too.
Those Marx toys, you still have those, right? The ones you painted? The stat. Yeah, I thought I saw them at your house once. They were mail
order. Yeah, no, I have them. They were mail.
But
I
yeah, but
ordered mine from Marvel Mania.
were they statues that you painted, or did they come painting?
I painted them. They're up pretty high, but I'll
See,
grab
I had those, but mine were solid colors. They were like solid color red or solid color green or blue.
Yeah, you got the second run. These were the ones. They were gray.
Yeah. I had the same ones, but mine were just solid colors.
So this says, oh, I don't know. It's
Marks.
MEMLXV11 or whatever. It's like something with maybe.
LXV11. That would be 67.
I think it was more like 71, but I don't.
But I had the same ones that I would get at Kresge's.
Yeah.
And I think they were $1 each, maybe, but they were solid colors though.
I bought the whole set from Marvel Mania.
There's Thor.
They were done first. Marvel Mania was like 70.
Now you painted those?
I painted them with with the model paints, basically whatever like you painted model car with.
Yeah. I remember the Daredevil was the hard one to find.
Oh, I have Daredevil. I have Thor, Hulk,
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man. So it's Spider-Man, Hulk, Thor, Daredevil. So there's a total of what? Yeah, there were 6, right? Or yeah. And I remember it was a Marvel Mania was like a flat rate, like maybe a couple bucks or something to get them in all at once. Yeah.
Wow. No, because I tried to find those years later and I couldn't.
If you hear a big crash, it's me trying to reach up and.
We got it on video. There goes Jerry Ordway lying. I've fallen and I can't get up. I could use this. I could send this to the insurance company when it's all over. Yeah, there's the Hulk. Yep. I always thought the Hulk was weird because he's shorter than the rest of them. I'm like, what the hell?
See, I didn't have purple paint, so you had to stay with the molded plastic.
It actually held up pretty good for something that's 50 years old.
How old is it?
50.
They were kind of cool, though. I remember thinking, because I think they never did any Daredevil or Iron Man or
no.
The Aurora did the Hulk, and they did Spider-Man and did Captain America.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cool that these are all like the same. Like the sculpts are really good. The Daredevil one's good too.
I'm surprised they haven't re-released those, but you can find those on eBay a lot.
Well, they did. The ones you were talking about where they were in solid different colors.
That's the ones I
think weren't those done by the place in New Jersey, Superhero something? Back in the World? Was that in the 80s, Superhero World?
Yeah, the Snyder guy. Yeah. Yeah, they're the ones that Marvel teamed up with.
So the molds
90s.
Existed,
Yeah.
Did I show off? Show off.
That's your weird thimble, a.k.a. Bruce Willis. Whenever you see Jerry's new drawings, they're going to look like that. That's
everybody's got one expression.
And then, of course, all I have is my.
So how many hours? Oh, that's cool. How many hours have we done so far?
About 36 now, Jer.
It was like a telethon.
Yeah, and unlike my other podcast or my other video show, I will eat this cereal if people haven't seen it before. It's still.
I wonder what happened to my bank. I did open the box and eat it because I didn't want it to get moldy. But
I thought it would get moldy too.
Bank.
It's still good.
I wonder where I put the bank. I must have it somewhere.
It says best opened by. It looks like it says it's like 12/20/97.
What?
It says 97, so this stuff was good for 10 years. It was made by the Ralston Purina. Remember the people?
I know that's always good too. It's very. It was. They gave you the little better stuff than the dogs got.
What's better? It says no tropical oils, as if you want to eat suntan lotion.
Well, they mean coconut oil. Back
then. There's all. See, I only have weird stuff like Spider-Man bobbleheads.
Where's your Mitch Hallock bobblehead?
Oh, that's over here. That scares me, actually. That's my, I don't know where it is. Look at this. This is a Jeremy Renner. Look at that face. Hawkeye. So there's that. Yeah. It's just like you, Jer. Looks just like you.
It's the,
it's the part of the show when it goes off the rails when we start.
Convention Jerry. It's Convention Jerry.
You look, yeah. Let's see. I don't know. I have a lot of weird Spider-Man stuff.
So what is the Mickey Mouse thing again? That's
Mickey Mouse is Indiana Jones.
oh.
There's 3 of them. There's him, there's that, and there's a little one. There's piles of Star Wars toys.
So do you think your family is waiting for you to
Die.
so that they can put this on eBay?
eBay. I don't think it's going to make it past the 1-800-GOT-JUNK people. This is me if I was Indiana Jones.
Is it supposed to be you?
No, it's supposed to be Indiana Jones. They did a whole line of them, but I'm always like,
You have Mickey Mouse ears.
because they originally made like a line of Mickey Mouse things, and then they're like, oh, we can make that for movies.
Oh.
I don't know why they did it, because it's creeping me out. There's Karen Allen.
Oh, that's really creepy.
Looks like, yeah. And speaking of MODOK, oh yeah, this will look just like him. Look, they painted the legs on him, and they didn't want to put the hands, so they made him, translucent, so it doesn't look like he has hands, but he does. Disney. They have a whole line of Marvel ones.
That is so funny,
isn't it?
Like, we're not going to resculpt them. We just got we got this mold, and we're going to make them. Whatever.
No, that's my soul out. That's for sure. They made them all. They made Captain America.
So you see what I've been listening to?
There's Rocket Raccoon. See, that one doesn't look so bad.
Yeah. Well, I was listening to my Superman soundtrack last night.
They also made the Jerry Ordway one. This is the Nazi.
That looks like, I hate to say it, that looks like Dan DiDio.
It does look like Dan DiDio, but the funnier thing is that's the Nazi that gets cut up in Raiders. So look what they made his ears. His ears are the propellers. They're about to chop him up, which I think is totally weird.
That's pretty funny.
What's the problem?
It looks like Dan DiDio. It really does.
Hey, kids. I'm Dan DiDio. No, he looks like Mario. Anyway, they're all there. I have a bunch of those things. But that's it. When we start,
what are we clocking in at, Mitch? I'm just
we're over an hour, so we're gonna wrap up.
You're the one who wanted to try to.
I know. When I start,
you're wearing a whiz hat. Your wizard shirt.
I have my wizard shirt on, and I have my Mickey Mouse, Darth Vader ears. I'm like the little things now.
I hate to say it, but it's like a Gestapo Mickey Mouse helmet. What is that? Right? It looks like a Nazi helmet. It doesn't quite look Darth Vader to me. It looks like.
That's the time of the show when Mitch starts doing Hitler impressions. It's time to go. But yes, I'm going to go back to cleaning my comics tonight and organizing them. So I have stuff to do, and you probably have drawings to do. I do. You do. Oh wait, what's in Mitchie's stack of comics? We should just get a long box one episode and pull out whatever. Look at this. This is Avengers versus the Justice League. Look at that cover. Look at that. That's a George Perez. There's 10,000 superheroes on that cover.
How much do those go for?
Actually, the only one that goes for a lot is the 4th issue, which is Superman holding Thor's hammer and Captain America's shield. That one's like $30-40.
Really?
But the whole series is not as
because they did a trade, but they've not reprinted it in 20 years.
No, that's not been reprinted. This one's worth a lot now. This is the first appearance of Gambit.
Oh, huh.
Yeah. I got to start taking better care of these things. Here's a book that was in the dollar bins forever, and now that's going up. Speaking of Bill Sienkiewicz, Moon Knight #1.
Oh, because Marvel doing a Marvel
TV show. Yeah, it's funny how those things just go up.
I've always felt like, I mean, again, I know that I remember liking Moon Knight when Sienkiewicz.
Yeah.
Those, but then I always felt like it was so obviously a Batman ripoff that I'm always surprised that it had such a fan following.
And this is when it drives people nuts because I don't put anything in order. Like, this is just randomly here, like the Green Lantern meets the Flash.
What issue is that?
That is issue number 20.
So why is that sitting in your?
I don't know. It's just the way it is. Like, I put my books together the other day. I put Daredevil with Moon Knight in one box, and somebody said that's not alphabetical. I said yes, but they're both non-powered street level crime fighters, so that makes sense in my brain. Like, here's Sergeant Fury #7. We don't know why. And I'm so cheap, I double bagged it with Captain Savage and his Leatherneck Raiders because I was cheap as a kid.
Captain Savage was terrible, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
But I think it was $1. I think that one, that was a good one. I bought the Spider-Man, the werewolf.
That's funny.
And this is the best one. That's the last one I'm going to show tonight. There's Harley the Wonder Dog.
Oh,
it's Ace the Bat Hound and the Batman. That's when Batman used to fight goofy shit. I
like the guy with the safari guy.
It looks like Curious George's friend, the man with the yellow hat. That's what happened to him. He became a big game hunter and got killed by a bat hound.
I gotta love that. Is that an alien or is that supposed to be a giant ant?
No, that's an alien.
Oh.
They don't talk about that one much.
Like a giant ant eater. It
looks like those fat things from Star Wars, the guys, the Gamorrean guards with a bug's head.
It's a little bit of a...
It's Batman and the creature. That's it, the creature. I was at the store today. I tried finding Arrow Season 8 to buy because you're on that. If people want to watch Jerry talk about the Crisis, that's on the new DVD that's out there. But
I actually just got it.
I couldn't find it.
It was on about 2 weeks. Whenever the news first came that on their drawing, I ordered it. So it's taken like a week or two.
Did it show up?
I just got it today.
Oh, because I went to Walmart because they had all new releases, and they did not have that there though. So, Harley Quinn came out on DVD today.
Oh,
that's the last movie I saw in the theaters, I think, before all this quarantine started.
Yeah, we were gonna. Remember, I was trying to convince you to go see Bloodshot.
Yeah, we were supposed to see. That was the Thursday before.
The last weekend that movies were open, wasn't it?
Yeah, man, Bloodshot's out on DVD now.
And I remember we were like,
that was the last movie. No, because I was supposed to review it for the radio because they called me up and they said, "Did you see it?" And I said, "I don't think I can go see it." And then that was it.
Well, I think I taunted you. I said, "Are we going to go see it?" And then the news started kind of hitting a little bit more like, "Uh-oh, maybe we shouldn't."
No.
So you think movies are going to be back?
Yeah. I just think it's going to take some time. I think everything's going to come back eventually. It's just going to take some while. Like haircuts come back on Wednesday, but you got to call for an appointment and stuff. So, because I'm turning into, I don't know what. It's not that bad today. I'm starting to get that, like sometimes it gets a big mop of hair. I get the big mop of hair and I look like Marlon Brando from Superman, the movie.
When it started getting down here, I just cut it. My aunt used to be a beautician, so I got all her barber scissors and stuff. So I just carefully avoided cutting my ear, but I was able to trim.
Yeah, my son. Learn many things.
Little Khalil.
Little Khalil.
Little Khalil.
You know that was all written on the stuff. He would just read. Yeah, he didn't even bother learning his line. He just showed up and said, "When you leave Krypton," that drives me nuts. He doesn't know how to say the name of the planet, Krypton.
But it's still actually a memorable performance.
It is, but it's Krypton. No, it's not.
I'm just saying. I thought he still, it still had some.
I like Glenn Ford. I always like Glenn Ford.
Oh, Glenn Ford, and Glenn Ford has still got that one line where he's walking with Clark and he says, "You have these amazing powers and you can do this and maybe you got him for," and then he does that like moment where you think, "Oh, he forgot his line." He just shakes his head and he goes, "I don't know what." And I always loved that moment because it felt very real.
Yeah, that always scared me when he died like that. Ooh.
Yeah.
Scared me.
That's how we'll go. We'll be walking with our kid and then the kid will say, "Come on, Dad."
No, they'll
run.
They'll find me. Last week I had one of those runner's lights on my head. And I was buried in the comics in the back, trying to get stuff crawling on my stomach, and I had that miner's hat. And a box will fall on me, and I'll be buried alive, and they'll find me buried under this copy of Captain Marvel.
If only that battery had more power in it, we would have found them because we looked and we didn't see a light.
Look, speaking of Bloodshot, why go to the movie, Jer, when you could read the Valiant issue #1 right there?
I know, but they had a Barry Smith cover.
Barry Windsor Smith, and it's reflective.
Yeah.
And there's #2. Look at that, 1 and 2, because I'm so cheap.
You know it's good because it's reflective. So you're wearing your Wizard shirt. I'm wearing my.
I saw that. I found that. You know what I found the other day? I was going to show you. I have a cover. I don't think you did it.
Thank you, Mr. Print.
It's a book that it says, ready? You tell me what the issue is. It's picture Superman on the cover. It says, in this issue, The names on the cover are Simonson, Ordway, Bogdanov, Janke, Breeding, Juergens, all on one cover.
Man of Steel #1.
Yep. I said I should have got that signed by all of you guys because I had everybody at the show so far except Dennis Janke. But everybody else has been at the show. And here's another useless piece of junk. That's Thanos if he was a suppository. So tell that to Jim Starlin. The infinite repository. This will plug you up.
Do you remember beans? Those toys?
Yeah.
The kids had them. They were like beans. Is that what kind of like that?
I don't know what the hell these are. These came out like 2 years ago, and they had all the different Marvel superheroes, and that just looked odd.
Well, he looks like he's in pain from having been extruded in that shape.
Looks like a hamster. I don't know why I have that, but anyway. So yeah, we're done. This is why the shows go 3 hours. That's why they call them a train wreck. All right, I'm going to wrap this up.
Show and tell.
If you listen to the audio of this and you didn't see anything, go online to youtube.com and Google the Power Cosmic Podcast, and you'll see me and Jerry and Jerry's pictures of all these people and all these things that we're playing with. But that's it. Do you have anything else, Jer? Nope.
Although I'm hopeful that the comic stores buy us
next week. Oh. Yeah, so I can stop giving away free comics and they can buy new ones.
No, it'll be good to get a fix of new stuff and all of our back orders.
And we'll all be wearing our masks like this. Ooh.
That's fine. I think we'll be wearing a mask for like a year or more. So get used to it.
Some of the people I know, it would be nothing but an improvement. Just think about all the dating. Just think about all the dating.
You should do a picture of your face from whatever the mask would cover printed on the mask. Don't you think? Then it would be a complete Mitch face.
Yeah.
You could get one with a smile, one with a frown.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, if you're in a bad mood, you put the bad
mood one, like
the Betty, what's her name? Betty Page. You just walk around like that.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't want that.
Right.
We call that one the blow up doll.
The surprised love doll look.
We don't want that look. What the hell? Gave it to Aunt Edna. She's 92. That's it. We're scraping bottom now. All right. I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you, Zoom, for allowing us to waste the airtime for that.
They're really nice. Thank you.
I know, and I haven't paid for this. Wait till I get a bill for $3,000. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Thanks, Zoom.
You're a heavy Zoom user.
Yeah. Zoom. All right. That's that.